What I'm going to start today is a series on building a custom set of Hickory golf clubs for someone. This is going to be pretty in-depth. It's not probably what you're thinking offhand. I'm going to go through my thought process on matching the club to the player, trying to assemble a set of clubs that would not necessarily be a match set made by one manufacturer, but trying to slot in specific types of heads that will fit this player and be what I think is a complete set for him going forward. Now, the person in question is a friend of mine in Scotland named Andy Strachan, who I met when I was over there playing in the World Hickory Open this last year. Andy was a gracious host and has become something of a long-distance friend and has expressed an interest in playing Hickory. And I want to start him off right, put him in a set that'll fit his game. Now, Andy's a better player. Andy's very close to scratch, and I've got all of his specifications on his putter that he uses in a modern, as well as most of the clubs he's using in a modern. So I've got a pretty good idea of what he's going to need in a flex and a shaft, club head weight, swing weight, those types of things, and grip size, all that. So I'll get to that later. But first of all, I want to walk you through the thought process I've got in this on how I'm going to select the clubs that'll be used. And they're not going to be a bunch of expensive clubs. You'll see one or two nice ones in here, but by and large, these are heads that my friend Rob Keeling had laying around and others that we've traded with, myself, and we pulled the shafts out of and had these heads here. We hang on to them because these are good heads. They're not really those real thin, light commons that you see out there. Sorry for the shaky camera. I've got my arms on the table and it's shaking it a little bit. So let's take a look real quick at the clubs that I'm going to be using here. And you'll see I've got them laid out. And there's, if I can get them in frame. There we go. There's three different types of clubs here. I have muscle backs here and some flange ones in the long irons. I've got the diamond backs in this slot, and I've got some diamondbacks here, and then as well as some flanged in the uppers. Now, my idea on this is one of these two long irons, mid irons here, I'm going to make into a one iron or a driving iron. They should have enough weight on that to be able to do that. I'm going to weigh them and see which ones come the closest to my target weights, which I've written down here for each one of my irons. That'll give me an 8 gram per head displace or difference, which is what I'm after, the differential between them. Those weights are generally what I'm trying to hit. If I can get to those, usually I can get a club head that's going, or a club finish that's going to swing weight somewhere between C8 and D2, depending on what I do with it. So this will be one of the key things I'm looking for. I can turn the lofts, if it's not too far off from where it is today, to fit into the set where I want. I can even grind a little bit here and there in different places to get the weight down. But I gotta have enough weight to hit those to start with. So that'll be the process. One of these two clubs here will be the driving iron, and then I'll pick a 2, 3, 4 from these. I'm undecided on the mashie yet. More than likely it's gonna be one of these heavy, either this Wilsonian here, which is kind of a muscle back, just a really thick, good blade head, thick through the center, as you can see. Or I'll pick this other diamondback mashie. When I get into the mashie niblick and the spade mashie, this mashie with the nice flange on it is probably getting turned to be a spade mashie. Now, what that's going to do for me is the bounce that's on the sole of this, I'll pick up another 3 to 4 degrees, or actually 4 degrees when I turn it. So I'll pick up 4 degrees of bounce on the sole by turning it to be a spade mashie. And I think that'll make it fit into the set pretty well. The big thing on it's going to be if it's got enough weight to do that. Sometimes they don't have. And then this spade mashie, it'll stay in the set right there, I'm sure, as where it is today. It's got a little bit of bounce to it. It's a good looking head. I worry about the weight on these Maxwell's drilled hosels. Sometimes they can get a little light on me. And then we've got a really nice niblick here, which I am leaning towards. That'll be the niblick in the set, or the 8 iron in the set. And then I'll have to build him something with a flange on it out of a ladies mashie to be a wedge or a sand wedge. I prefer the ladies mashies to build that over because they tend to have a smaller head size, and the smaller head size keeps it from getting too carried away. Some of the men's mashies, as you know, or niblicks, excuse me, got really, really big, like a shovel sitting on the end of it. And if you'll get the ladies, they have a little bit smaller profile. Now, ideally, I'd like to find one that's got either good distinct lines on it or is drilled, and I can go in and clean those holes up to get some bite on it. I'll add a flange with some tungsten powder and JB Weld, as we do, or with some solder, and then set it up to be a sand wedge for him in the venue of Gene Saracen. But this is where I'm going to start, and I will weigh all these out, see where they fit, where I can use them, and I will do the next video showing the results of that with the weights written on them with a Sharpie, and how they fit into my set. And then I may have to do some tuning or grinding here and there to take some weight off to get them to fit perfectly. But stay tuned for the next segment and I will cover that. So here I have the heads laid out in the order they're going to go, from the niblick at the bottom all the way up to the 1 iron. And you can see I've weighed them on my scale and I've written the weight on each one of them. Now, they're running a little bit heavier than what I was looking at, and some of them are going to require just a little bit of tuning, which I'll take a little, preferably off the front of the sole, to add a little bounce to them. That's my preferred way. I actually like it when they're a little heavy. I may lose the number on the bottom, but these are not collector's clubs anyway, so I don't really care. I can restamp a number on there. I have a stamp set with numbers for when I do this, but that's going to be the next thing, is get them all to weight. They're going to get a bath in half sulfuric acid and half water. That will take any of the chrome that's on them off, and any rust, anything like that out of the hosels. I'll neutralize all that with a little bit of baking soda and some water and get them all cleaned up. When I'm done grinding all these, I may actually go ahead and chrome these at the house using copy chrome from Cadwell plating. It's a process. It's just like boiling an egg. It's so simple you can't hardly screw it up, and I found it to be quite durable and certainly good enough for a golf club. And it has a nickel look more than a chrome look, which I really like on the older clubs. So stay tuned for the next set. Will be me tuning all these, turning them to the correct lofts, getting them set up for where they're going to play. But I'm quite happy with them right now. All of them are running just a touch heavy, maybe 10 grams at the most of what I want in that position. The two exceptions are the niblick and the mashy niblick, which are actually quite heavy. But, you know, I'm kind of okay if those work out to be a little heavier swing weight. I don't think that hurts you in those scoring clubs to have a little bit more feel to that. Anyway, that's where we are, and stay tuned. I will post it after I get them cleaned up and matched in weight and show you that.